Have you ever felt like you're constantly chasing success, only to find yourself in a treadmill of effort, maybe, with inconsistent results?
Yeah, just spinning your wheels sometimes.
Exactly. Well, you're certainly not alone. I'm your host, and today we're taking a deep dive into some pretty profound insights on uh, building great things and becoming great yourself. We're drawing from some really fascinating modern principles for business and life.
And it matters, right? Because we live in this world just overflowing with information. It's so easy to feel overwhelmed, maybe looking for those quick fixes or shortcuts.
Mm.
But true, lasting success, whether that's in your career, your relationships, or just personal growth,
Hmm.
it isn't really about fleeting trends.
Right.
It's more about understanding these sort of fundamental principles, things rooted in psychology and, human behavior.
Okay.
And getting your head around these laws, well, that can give you the clarity, maybe the conviction you need
Hmm.
to navigate challenges and really unlock your full potential.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our first principle, let's
Right.
call it fill your 5 buckets in the right order. We often feel this powerful pull to chase quick wins, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
A bigger salary, a fancy title, maybe without first building a really solid foundation. But what happens then? I mean, it feels like you could end up building a career on pretty shaky ground.
That's exactly it.
Hmm.
And what's truly insightful here, I think, is that the solution, it seems simple, maybe, but it's often overlooked. You need to really focus on filling your first 2 buckets.
Okay, what are they?
First, what you know,
Yeah.
it's your knowledge, and second, what you can do. Those are your skills.
Hmm.
You have to prioritize these before you put too much weight on, say, who you know, your network,
Right.
or what you have, your resources, or even what the world thinks of you, your reputation.
So knowledge and skills first.
Yes. Investing deeply there creates this powerful cascade effect. It starts to naturally fill those other buckets, but in a much more sustainable way. Think about some founders, maybe in tech, even with a hot idea, they often go back into build mode for months, even years sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Honing their craft.
Exactly. Meticulously getting skills in coding or
Yeah.
product design or leadership before they chase the big investment or the public spotlight. They just know that a shaky foundation, well, it collapses under pressure.
Yeah.
And the real insight is that patience, taking time to build those first buckets, it isn't really a delay. It's actually an acceleration in the long run.
That's a great point. And Richard's story you mentioned, that's kind of a stark warning against skipping those steps, isn't it?
It really is.
He was, 21? Talented guy, offered a CEO job, double his pay, equity.
Sounds amazing.
Super tempting. Right.
Totally. But he just didn't have the management experience or the, the foundational knowledge for that kind of leadership role.
So he took the job, chasing the money, the status, and he was out within months.
Yeah.
Those foundational buckets just weren't full, and it caught up with him fast.
Precisely. And the biggest trap here, I think, is letting ego persuade you to skip those really crucial early stages, building that genuine knowledge, those core skills.
Right, chasing the title.
Yeah, chasing a title or a bigger paycheck prematurely, it just builds your career on these weak, short-term foundations.
Mhm.
And they will catch up with you eventually.
So for someone listening who's genuinely trying to build this right, how do they know they're actually filling those foundational buckets effectively, not just, being busy?
Well, you need to track your consistent efforts, learning, and crucially, applying new information. Ask yourself, how many books have I genuinely absorbed lately, not just skimmed?
Right.
How many new skills have I actively practiced and really tried to master in the last month? Look for chances to apply what you know. That's how knowledge turns into a real skill. That application part is key.
Got it. And the benefit, the payoff for doing this groundwork?
You build an unshakable, adaptable foundation. That's the bedrock, really, for navigating any kind of professional storm. It ensures long-term sustainability, resilience. You're building something solid.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Build the foundation first. Now, once you have built that foundation, the knowledge, the skills, the next challenge is often getting your ideas heard, right? Getting others on board.
Communication.
Exactly. Which brings us to our second principle. And this one might feel a little counterintuitive. You must never disagree.
Yeah, that one gets a reaction sometimes.
I bet. Because in any debate, any disagreement, our first instinct is usually to jump in and say why we're right, isn't it?
It is?
But that often leads to these just unproductive arguments where nobody's really listening. It feels like the other person's brain just, I don't know, freezes up, shuts down to your point of view.
That's a great way to put it. It really can feel like that. So the question becomes, if disagreeing is our natural tendency, how do we get heard effectively?
Yeah.
Well, the key to really effective communication, and maybe even changing minds, is to first establish some common ground. Start your response by acknowledging something you do agree on,
Okay.
or something you understand about their point, or something you have in common with their argument. This simple step helps keep the other person's brain open, receptive to your viewpoint.
Ah, so you're lowering their defenses first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes it far more likely that your logical arguments will actually land, will be heard. And what's fascinating is the neuroscience behind this. When people agree, their brains literally show more activity, they light up, indicating cognitive receptiveness.
Interesting.
But when they feel challenged, disagreed with, their brains can actually appear to freeze and shut down. It's like a primal defense mechanism kicking in.
Wow.
So by first making someone feel, heard and understood, you're essentially building a bridge for comprehension instead of triggering that shutdown response.
It's like building that bridge before you try to drive a truck over the canyon. You see this play out all the time, like in really contentious political debates. You can have overwhelming evidence, but if it's presented confrontationally...
It just bounces off.
Yeah.
Opinions don't change.
Exactly.
So the crucial mistake, the pitfall to avoid here, is that emotional temptation. Just jumping in with, I disagree, or you're wrong.
Yeah, it feels good in the moment sometimes, but...
But it instantly creates a barrier. It causes the other person to shut down, maybe devalue anything you say next. Doesn't matter how true it is. It's just a fundamental misunderstanding of how our brains process opposing views.
Okay, so how can you tell if you're actually getting better at this? What's a practical way to measure progress?
Pay attention to your conversations. How often do they remain open, constructive, even when you're discussing different opinions?
Right.
Ask yourself, can I genuinely state the other person's point of view fairly before I present my own? If you can do that, you're definitely on the right track. You're fostering connection, not just contention.
And the benefit here, the remarkable gain.
You become essentially a master of influence. You're much better equipped to navigate difficult conversations, resolve conflicts, and genuinely change minds, not just win debating points.
That's a powerful skill. Okay, let's switch gears a bit to self-mastery. Our third principle, never fight a bad habit.
Ah, yes, the habits loop.
We all try to break bad habits, right? But just try not to stop them using sheer willpower. It often leads to this thing called the behavioral rebound effect.
It backfires.
Yeah, the habit comes back, sometimes even stronger than before. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Eventually, it just pops back up.
That's a perfect analogy. And this is where it gets really interesting psychologically. Instead of fighting the bad habit head on, the solution is actually to replace part of the habit loop, specifically the routine or the reward step. Replace it with a new positive action.
Okay, replace. Don't just resist.
Exactly. And you can leverage this really powerful psychological principle called loss aversion.
Loss aversion, what's that?
It basically means we're often more motivated by the fear of losing something we already have than by the potential of gaining something new. So you create skin in the game.
Like a public commitment. Or putting some money on the line.
Precisely. A public promise, a small stake, something that motivates consistency because you don't want to lose face or lose that small bet. It taps into that deep resistance to losing, making sticking with the new habit much more compelling than just relying on willpower.
That makes sense.
And the focus should always be on making new, small, achievable habits, things that require minimal willpower rather than these grand, sweeping changes that are just unsustainable.
I love that example you shared about the father, the secret smoker. He quit successfully by replacing his cigarettes with, what was it, miniature lollipops.
That's right, miniature lollipops.
He wasn't directly fighting the urge to smoke. He was replacing the routine of reaching for something and the reward with something less harmful. That's brilliant. It kind of takes the whole moral battle out of it.
It does.
I've definitely fought those internal wars, trying to just stop doing something. It's absolutely exhausting.
It is, and that leads to the critical mistake to avoid. Believing willpower is this infinite resource. It's much more like a muscle that gets tired,
Right.
and trying to suppress a thought or an action
Hmm.
can actually make it more prominent in your mind. Plus, you try to tackle too many habit changes at once, you'll just deplete your willpower reserves really quickly, making a rebound much more likely.
So how do we know if this replacement strategy is actually working? What should we track?
Instead of counting the days you didn't do the old habit, which keeps the old habit top of mind, track the consistency of your new desired replacement behavior.
Ah, focus on the positive.
Exactly. Are you showing up for that new action most days? That's your real indicator of sustainable change.
Okay. And the incredible outcome, if you do this right.
You achieve real, sustainable personal growth. You're strategically rewiring your brain, creating positive, lasting changes that actually stick because you're working with your psychology, not against it.
Fantastic. Okay, let's shift from personal habits now, maybe to organizational strategy or even how teams work. Principle number 4. You must outfail the competition.
Sounds aggressive, doesn't it?
It does, but it's really more about mindset, I think. So many individuals and organizations, too, are just paralyzed by the fear of failure.
Absolutely.
And that leads to stagnation, right? Slow innovation. You end up getting left behind in this rapidly changing world. And bureaucracy often just makes it worse.
It really does. But this law, it's incredibly powerful for accelerating growth. The solution is to actively cultivate a mindset and maybe even a system of rapid experimentation.
Okay, experimentation.
Yes, and learning from every outcome. You start to view failure not as an end, but as valuable feedback, as knowledge gain.
Right, data.
Exactly. You empower small, autonomous teams to make quick decisions, especially those that are easily reversible if they don't work out. And you actively remove bureaucratic hurdles that slow things down.
And share the lessons.
Crucially, yes. Publicly share the lessons learned from successes and from the so-called failures across the whole organization. This builds collective intelligence. Every attempt becomes a data point that everyone can learn from.
You see this with some big companies, right? Like Booking.com running thousands of experiments.
Over 1,000 a day, constantly refining based on real customer insights.
Wow. Or Amazon's Jeff Bezos. He basically says failure and invention are like inseparable twins.
He does. He talks about how their biggest wins often come from betting against conventional wisdom. They actually embrace having a business graveyard of failure.
A graveyard of failure, I like that.
Because the few massive successes, the home runs like AWS, they more than pay for all the experiments that didn't pan out. They are literally outfailing their competitors into innovation.
So what's the trap here? What stops people from doing this?
The biggest things are bureaucracy, internal politics, or just plain old fear of embarrassment. People don't want to be seen failing. And they often overestimate the risk of what we might call type 2 decisions, those low stakes, easily reversible ones. By being too cautious with those, you miss countless opportunities to learn and adapt quickly. And that allows competitors to just leap ahead.
So what are the signs that someone or a team is actually applying this effectively? How do you measure outfailing?
Well, you could track the sheer number of experiments or new ideas tested in a certain period. But maybe more importantly, measure how quickly the insights from those experiments get shared and integrated into future decisions.
So it's about the speed of the learning loop.
Exactly. It's the speed of learning, not just the volume of attempts.
And the payoff, the significant reward for embracing this.
You accelerate innovation massively. You gain invaluable knowledge, and you can achieve exponential growth. Essentially, you embrace failure as a pathway to power.
Okay, powerful stuff. Our final principle for today, you must become a plan A thinker. Now, this one also feels a bit counterintuitive because we're often told having a plan B is the responsible thing, right? The wise approach.
It seems sensible on the surface.
But what if having that backup plan subtly erodes your commitment, your intensity for plan A? Does it lessen your motivation, your focus on the main goal?
That's the core question this principle raises. It's about true commitment and focus. The solution proposed here is to commit wholeheartedly, completely to your plan A.
No safety net.
Well, by removing those alternative paths, those escape routes, you actually intensify your focus, your creativity, your determination. It forces you to find solutions to make plan A work rather than looking for ways out.
Hmm.
Now, this isn't about being reckless. It's about channeling all your mental and emotional energy into achieving your most important objectives.
Hmm.
There's this idea that the amount of ourselves we dedicate to an outcome, our mind, energy, focus, is directly correlated with the likelihood of achieving it.
Right.
A plan B can actually fracture that essential dedication.
That story of Nando Parado, the Andes survivor, really hits this home, doesn't it?
That's an incredible example.
Stranded for, what, 72 days, facing starvation, freezing conditions. He makes this unimaginable trek for help.
Hmm.
His only option was forward. There was no plan B. That absolute plan A mindset led to his rescue and the rescue of others. He apparently said, the only way you go forward is because you can't go back.
Wow, that's powerful. And even for less extreme situations, those everyday type 2 decisions we talked about, the ones that are reversible and low consequence,
Yeah.
acting quickly and committing fully without constantly developing a plan B can be incredibly liberating and much more effective. You just move faster.
So what's the pitfall here? How can plan A thinking go wrong?
The main mistake is creating these psychological comfort blankets with plan Bs.
Yeah.
They feel safe, but they reduce that critical drive, that impetus you need to push through the really difficult parts of plan A.
Right. It gives you an out too easily.
Exactly. Now, it's important not to confuse this with recklessness. You still need to be smart. Calculated, focused risk-taking is different from just being careless.
Mhm.
Always consider the true irreversibility of the consequences. But for many, many decisions, the hidden cost of not committing fully to plan A is actually far greater than the perceived risk of going all in.
How can you tell if you're developing this plan A mindset? How do you measure it in yourself?
Observe how you approach problems when obstacles pop up for your main goal. Do you immediately start looking for workarounds, for escape routes? Or do you double down, expend all your creative energy trying to find a way through the challenge?
Persistence.
Your persistence, your grit in the face of difficulty, that's a strong indicator of this focused Plan A commitment.
And the ultimate victory. The benefit of thinking this way.
You unlock these unparalleled levels of determination and creativity, you dramatically increase the likelihood of actually achieving your most ambitious goals.
It really does come down to those deep personal choices, doesn't it? The ones that build who we are. I'm thinking about that story of Chris Eubank Jr., the boxer.
Ah, yes. The sparring session in Cuba.
Right. He's facing this huge heavyweight, gets knocked out of the ring, dead leg. I mean, in that moment, he could have just quit. Anyone would understand.
Absolutely. No shame in it.
But he didn't. He got back in the ring. Not because people were watching, he said, but because of the story he was writing for himself.
Mm-hmm.
A story about perseverance. And that inner conviction, it wasn't just built in the ring, it was built in all those private moments, like being on the treadmill and refusing to quit even with a cramp.
That's the key insight.
He knew if he let the treadmill make him quit, a tough opponent could too. That built the evidence for his own Plan A thinking. It connected back to filling his own buckets of resilience, mastering his habits, embracing the grind.
It's those small, unseen choices. They build the mental toughness you need for those huge Plan A level commitments.
Okay, these principles are incredibly powerful, but how do we actually start putting them into action? Like, this week, let's talk practical steps and maybe some common hurdles.
Absolutely. Because it's easy to hear this and think, okay, great ideas, but. For instance, a lot of people might immediately think, I just don't have the time for all this self-improvement stuff.
Right, that's a common one. Or maybe, what if trying to never disagree just makes me look weak, like I don't have strong opinions? Let's tackle those.
Good ones.
But first, for quick action, here are maybe 3 concrete steps you could try this week.
Okay.
1, identify your most important long-term goal. Spend maybe 15 minutes just visualizing achieving it. And then honestly reflect, are there any internal Plan B escape routes you're mentally holding on to?
Good exercise. What else?
2, for your next challenging conversation, maybe at work, maybe at home, make a commitment to really listen and find just one point of agreement you can state first before you offer your perspective.
Build that bridge first. Love it.
Mm.
And a third.
3, choose one small, nagging bad habit you want to change, just one, and devise a simple positive action to replace it instead of just gritting your teeth and trying to stop it.
Replace, don't resist.
Get.
Got it. Okay, now let's hit those objections we mentioned. First one, I just don't have time for all this.
Yeah. Think of it like compound interest, though. Even just 15 minutes a day, seriously,
Yeah.
15 minutes dedicated to building knowledge or practicing a skill, it compounds dramatically over time. It's less about finding more time and more about making smarter investments with the time you already have.
That's a great reframe.
Okay.
Objection 2, what if never disagreeing makes me seem weak, like I don't have convictions?
This isn't about just rolling over or surrendering your opinion at all. It's about smart, strategic communication. By creating that open channel first, by finding that agreement, your strong convictions are actually more likely to be heard and considered, not just dismissed out of hand. It's actually strength through strategy.
Makes sense. And the last one, eliminating a plan B for my biggest goals just feels too risky, maybe even irresponsible.
Plan A thinking isn't about being reckless. It's about channeling maximum focus. Remember those type 2 decisions we talked about, the low consequence, easily reversible ones? For those, full commitment just accelerates your learning. Now, for truly high stakes, irreversible decisions, yeah, prudence is still vital. But even then, doing something like a pre-mortem, really thinking through what could go wrong with plan A and how you'd handle it, can actually give you the courage to commit fully to that single, well-thought-out path.
Okay, let's quickly recap these powerful laws then, and the core benefits. Number 1.
Fill your buckets. Build that strong foundation of knowledge and skills first.
And the win is, you create an unshakable base for lasting, adaptable success.
Number 2. Never disagree. Find common ground first to ensure your message gets received.
The win. You master influence and can resolve conflicts much more effectively.
3. Replace habits. Don't fight bad habits, replace them with positive actions.
The win there. You achieve real, lasting personal change by working with your brain's wiring.
4. Outfail competition. Embrace rapid experimentation and learn from every single outcome.
The win. You accelerate innovation and gain absolutely invaluable knowledge.
And finally, number 5. Plan A thinking. Commit fully to your most important goals without those backup distractions.
And the win. You unlock incredible levels of determination and creativity.
These laws, they really aren't just abstract ideas, are they? They feel like battle-tested principles for real, profound growth, personally and professionally.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't always get to choose what you believe deep down, but you do get to choose what evidence you expose yourself to, what actions you take that build that belief.
That's powerful. So, the challenge to you listening today is this. Pick just one of these laws, just one, and really try to apply it this week. See how this kind of deep dive into foundational principles can start to transform your trajectory.
Think about those choices you make when absolutely no one is watching. Because those are the moments, really, that define your self-story. They build the evidence for who you believe you are and who you can become. What story you're writing for yourself today?
Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep building. That's it from us today. This is Lisa and Jim signing off from Pod Talk. Hope you all have an informative session. Please like and subscribe for more such sessions. We hope to see you soon with a brand new topic of discussion.